All right, so we have some call options. Now, this is for a company, Solid Power. They're doing okay things. Back when I bought these, like, oh God, I have to look when I bought them. It was a while ago. I had to roll them over because they look like shit forever. But they were added to the small Russell. They do batteries for it. They had some batteries going with BMW and I believe Ford. BMW, Solid Power, Automaker Partners. I don't know. That's supposed to be one word. BMW, look, it looks like that. I thought there was another one. Honda's Breakthrough. Is that Solid Power? I didn't know that. If it is, no, solid base battery. So that's what they're doing. Wait, do they have one? No. Yes, so they do. Ford, BMW, SK, and then this one, other than automaker, that is nice as well. And I do believe they also have, they got money from the government, but some people say the government doesn't pay their bills. But anyways, so you have them rising today, but then keep in mind, now this is when QS, that's another battery one, but they do better. So I got into, I had sold out of these ones, and they have a similar, actually they do way better than Solid Power. God damn it. Anyways, but I got these in May 16th. I had gotten them in December, actually, and then I rolled them over because they were worthless in May. Well, yeah, they're worthless. But I thought, you know what? I'll give these guys another chance. So now, this would have been $40. Actually, wait a minute. No, this would be, so 40, and now they've doubled. But now, I have to decide. So these would expire on November 21st, okay? Or you could do that roll position. Not every things have that though. So now if you view all their options now, so since they're on a rise, but there's going to be different dates. So they're going to have earnings. Earnings could show they're like a worthless garbage company, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they might have good earnings, and that's why, in fact, they could probably rise even more in the past 2 days. No, but that would be a riskier one. So this means this option would expire on July 18th. But if the price, so this would be your strike price. Let's look at it at $1.50, $1. This one sells for $100. It would be 1.00, 100. And then the $2 one in the money is selling for 55. So if your $5 strike price ends up in the I don't think. This is how gambling works. You're trying to think if fucking Solid Power is going to reach $5 a share by July 18th. You're gambling. And then you have to think about another thing, and I'll tell you that too. A DeepSeek. Dude, some people might have bought options, calls, man, January, thinking everything was going to ride high. And then those calls expired like, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months later. And every one of the calls would expire worthless. So if there's a macro event that drops things, Aurora Trucking looks like it's sitting on a macro event, but that's not true. Because, see, well, if you would have stopped here, they would have been up 22%. People forget about what they're doing. People forget about the greatness of Aurora. And as you can see, this was them leading up to their last earnings. And then people liked it, actually. It lasted a little longer. But this would be another earnings. They're partnered with Uber. They run on Uber Freight, their autonomous trucks, in like one highway in Texas. Many more highways to go. Many more. A global expansion, you could say. So anyways, but this earnings might not show all of that. But I'm also, that would be the RGTI. So I have an Aurora call. Now this Aurora call is going to be for the 25th. Because if we go, and I want it to be $6.50. I already hold a lot of Aurora, so I don't really care. I wasn't going to exercise this call, meaning you can exercise the calls and buy your shares. So if we go to, and here was them leading up to the earnings, they hit $8. And then there's them, this was all the news about their trucks going fucking autonomous. People love it. People love autonomous trucks. $9.44, okay? So now, these ones expire July 3rd, tomorrow, half day. These are probably going to expire worthless, okay? You wouldn't even be able to sell them. So that's another thing. You want to make sure you're going to be able to sell the other calls, unless you wanted to buy the shares, but you probably don't want to do that right now because you could buy the shares cheaper than they're at. So now notice, Aurora has a decent amount. Solid Power didn't have that many expiration dates there. So they don't do earnings, they don't do calls earnings week, okay? So leading up to it, that's the time I picked for this one, July 25th, because I think, you know what, actually, no, yeah, that would probably be. So this one's for $10. And like I said before, you're straight betting on this stuff, okay? So this is straight gambling that the price of it is going to rise. Because if I'm going to put in, and then you can sell them for more because people would want them. So you would also want to make sure, look, that a lot of people are trading them. See, they're a volatile gal there, and this is what they always are doing. So keep in mind, they are on down, but the news, I think their news is big. We have news. See, well, they had a little bit of a snafu because I made them put drivers in the front seat, but the drivers aren't doing anything. And when we have they're going to have no AI regulations on stuff. So keep in mind, that includes autonomous trucking, people. That's another big one I didn't really think about. But the road ahead is still bumpy, of course. But we were looking, I think, that Aurora is going to increase at least $1 leading up to their earnings. And it's July 2nd, the earnings is July 30th. I really think that would happen. So if you look at the Aurora calls that are in the money, going to be less than what it's sitting at now. They're selling for $190. Well, it would technically, like I said, probably get the better off of doing the 45. But even then, if you have bought them for $10 and then you could sell them for $45, that's what you'd be thinking about there. And then you can also set them to sell. So now I have an RGTI one. And my RGTI one, I bought it at $95. And now its current value is $112. Because RGTI is moving today. But that's they're risky. So August 1st, I did that one for before the earnings, I believe. They're on a rise. So that's why that looks like it does. And I probably overpaid for it. But if we look at them, things that they do before earnings, that was RGTI before the last earnings, $14.97, hitting some highs. So if I look at this, and then we could go to viewing them all. So that one is for August 1st, $13. And if we look, this $13 one, but that expires tomorrow at $14. And then one that is in the money is basically twice that at $29 when the strike price is $12.50 or when it's over $12.50. So now, if we looked, I have too many tabs open. Oops, shit, this is my shit. Wait a minute, am I in RGTI? No, this is stupid solid power. Okay, wait, so if we look, earnings August 7th. Now, notice how the price of them, actually, these aren't, for quantum stuff, people have lost faith in little RGTI. And let people not forget what quantum is capable of when the news is brewing. Because this one is going to be D-Wave, and they're going from this all the way up. And they didn't really go back down. And they're not even making it. Quantum computers aren't anywhere near where they're supposed to. They can't even do anything. If you believe Martin, and Shay can't tell you what a quantum computer can do. So this industry is entirely speculative, people, okay? Keep that in mind, that is also a gamble. But anyways, if we're going to look at them, if you think they get to $14.50, you would pay a little, that'd be for $92, $91. And then if you go, let's say you're looking at 2 weeks. Now you see the options are going to be cheaper because July 18th is sooner. Now, these is why these are bets, because anything can happen while you're holding these. They could have a horrible rumor about them. They could have, I don't know. Calls can be very tricky, but people can make a lot of money on calls, because if you people buy a buttload of calls, which, let's say for the $16 strike price for RGTI, you bought, I don't know, like 20 of these, right, at $25 each. And then all of a sudden, they go even $3 above this strike price to 19. Have they went to 19? Let me see that. Yeah, they have. No. Whoa, wait. Yes. I'm looking at the year. That's what they were at before DeepSeek. They were doing the best out of the three. Well, no. Yeah. QBT, QBTS, and well, besides IO and Q. The RGTI was doing the best. Oh, and another one, RQQQ, which I don't follow this one. Damn it, I don't even know what these do. Really, because you just say the Quiz quantum computers don't even fucking work. They're not, and I don't know what people are going to use them for. See, these ones are pricier, so this one, and there's less of these calls, which is kind of interesting. But see, well, not really. And there's less options of calls. So this is going by the $5 increment. You would want to keep all these things in mind. But for RGTI, you're going to do the 50-cent increment. I wonder why RQQQ is so less popular than these other ones, because you have, what do they have for calls? I'm sure theirs are, see, this is for tomorrow, only $4. That's $17 strike price. And you can also look at companies, because the more calls they have, the more options for calls. You could say that means there's more people interested. Like, this is a 39. I'm wondering if they're going to try to say that quantum's getting something in the big, beautiful bill. Because this just seems, if anyone knows, like, who's putting all these? These are a lot going very high. And if you look at QBTS, they have not even reached those levels. So, like, it's strange that these are, I'm not getting these, but I would think that's strange if maybe people know that QBTS is going to have some epic pop in the next month, which could be crazy. And look at this one, a $12 strike price for QBTS. If it's right now, it's sitting at $15.62, so it's only less than $3 under. This would supposedly sell for $435, but sometimes you might not get that, keep in mind. So, but with this one, maybe you could. With these, that's interesting. But these would be calls I think could be profitable, because I bought them myself, except for QBTS.